going. Do you feel unloved today? That's the topic we're going to discuss. Do you feel unloved today? Do you feel disconnected from the Lord, your God? Have you not heard anything from within in a while? Is there a emptiness feeling that you feel deep inside that you're trying to put something there, hoping that it will satisfy the emptiness? But no matter what you put in there, it does not satisfy your emptiness. Well, let's dig off in some scriptures and let's see if we can go somewhere. Let's see if we can take a journey. In Exodus 13:12, what does it read? It says that you, the individual, shall set apart. That means make holy. That means different, set apart. Now, sometimes if something is set apart from a group, it can feel lonely. It can feel empty. It can feel like there's something missing. But are we taught something wrong? Because if you, the individual, shall set apart, that means set by itself from a group. The person that is set apart might feel empty, might feel lonely, because it's separated from the group, because it's different, because the child is unique, the person is unique. Have you ever considered that you might be different? Have you ever considered and thought of that you just might be unique, that you might just be set apart, that you're not supposed to be mixed in with the crowd, but you, the individual, shall set apart to the Lord, right? The Lord, the existing one inside of you, to the Lord, all that opened the womb. Every child, every living being that opens the womb shall be separated, shall be set apart, shall be taken away from the group and moved by itself. Have you ever considered you have never happened or have been created before? You are the only you. That opened the womb. Only one person at a time can open the womb. That is, every firstborn that comes from an animal, which you have, the males shall be the Lord's. And the males also hold the seed, right? So if the male is separated and holy and different, but the male doesn't understand and know that he is supposed to be separated and different, and that feeling different is a blessing and not a curse. If we knew that every child that comes from the womb is separated, and we're supposed to take pride in our difference, because our strength might be in what makes us different. The question is, do you feel unloved today? Do you feel that there's some emptiness where something needs to be filled. It might be that you're noticing that you're different, that you're noticing what somebody has not physically told you, but your spirit is trying to tell you, that you're separated unto it. There's something about you that is unique and that's different, that the world needs to see, that the world needs to experience. There are some people out there that need wisdom that comes from you. And if you do feel something negative about being separated or different, that negativity is to try to work against you, so you will not achieve what you need to achieve whenever you become in union with yourself. Let's check out another scripture. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21. And this is talking about a man that has 2 wives. And when it comes to a spiritual relationship, God is the bridegroom. He is the male. The Lord God within us is the male. He is the leader. He is the shepherd. We are the sheep. We listen. We are the female or the wives in this scenario. We are the bride. So if we start in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 15, it starts off with if. And remember, if it talks about a condition, right? So if a man, now the man is supposed to represent God on earth. The man himself, male, female, but mankind is the representative of God on earth. So in this scenario, we're going to say this is supposed to be a godly man, but we're going to just say it's God, right? So if God has 2 wives, 2 types of relationships here on earth, there are people and there are human beings that are loved by God, that feel the love of God, that acknowledge who God is, that understands who and what God is to them. They are self-generated from the inside, and they express that love on the outside. We're going to say that that's the now relationship. But it also says there was another wife. There was another type of relationship here on earth. It was the unloved. Can you believe that? That there are some people on earth that have a relationship, are supposed to have a relationship with God, the Creator within, the inner them, that they feel unloved. There's something in that. And so we're going to say that loved is after transformation. And then we're going to say unloved is before transformation. Because after we have accepted who we are, after we believe in the God within us, after we have been reunited in marriage, after we have been accepted, that's love. That's after transformation. But sometimes when we just feel empty, separated from God, that the world is coming down on us, then that is before transformation. And it says, and they, right? They, both relationships, both women, both the one that was loved and the one that was unloved, the person that was loved and the person that was unloved, they have borne him children. Personalities. I'm going to say that a child represents the father's personality because the father is within. And the father is whatever you experienced or interpreted a father to be. And with those glasses of your interpretation, you are seeing and expressing what the Father that you have created from within is expressing to the world. So if a man or if God has two types of relationships here on earth, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, they have went out here in this world and they had children, and the children are the personalities of the parents, of the father. Just like because the father is the generator. What helps you generate your thoughts, your life? What helps generate and motivate you to progress and move forward in anything, whether good or bad? Because it's really what your works are that determine who your father is. And obviously here we can see that these are two different types of relationships. Two people who see things differently. And again, we have both the loved and the unloved out here in the world having children. You have people who feel whole and you have people who feel empty. People who look at the glass half full and people who look at the glass half empty. Here we go. And if is a condition. If the firstborn, the first child, son, is of her or is of the person, right, or the relationship who is unloved, who feels empty before transformation, right? And if the firstborn son is of her who is unloved. Now let's take a look at this. I think in some places that this firstborn is also in reference to maybe a harvest. And let's say you're a person, you're a farmer, you're a farming person, and you lay seed. Well, your harvest is whatever comes up in the beginning, right? Whatever comes out the ground, whatever comes out of the womb that opens the womb of the ground, right? So let's look at it in our way, right? Because as human beings, as males, we plant 10 million seeds. And what comes from the earth? What comes from the ground? What opens the womb? A child. At a 10 million seeds planted, the harvest is one child. Sometimes there's two. Sometimes there's three. Sometimes there's multiple, and sometimes there's one. And sometimes there's none. So what I want you to understand is that you are you, the person, the one that might not be feeling unloved. You are the firstborn. Out of 10 million seeds planted, you are the one that opened the womb of the ground. You are the one that sprouted. And that is a blessing. And it should be. But are we taught that children are that type of a blessing? I can see it mentioned in the Bible all the time about how they viewed the children. Remember, the children of Israel are God's firstborn, the children. They don't say anything about the adults, but the adults that were afraid to go into the promised land. The parents that chose not to enter. The ones that maybe didn't feel unloved. That type of relationship. But just remember, you are the first fruit. And so every human being on earth that has came through the womb or from the woman, because children come from the woman. And when you come from that type of darkness into the light, when you open the womb of the ground, you're separated. You're different. You're the firstborn. You're the only one of your kind. There's nobody else in the universe like you. We are supposed to embrace being different, being alone, being separated from the crowd, because it's our difference that makes a difference. In verse 16, then it shall be on the day that he, God, right, bequeaths or passes on his possessions. And what is God's possession? Grace and mercy. So when God or the Father's supposed to be passing out grace and mercy in all households. So when the Father passes out grace and mercy on his sons, on both of them, both of the one who was loved and the one that was unloved, that he, God, must not bestow, must not give, that he, God, or he, the man, must not give, right? Firstborn status, separatedness status, alone status, coming from the womb status, coming from the earth, opening the earth, the womb of the earth, the female, right? That he must not bestow or give firstborn or the first fruit status, the status on the son of the loved, right, of the loved, because they're loved already, right? They already have a relationship. So you wouldn't give the firstborn status to somebody like that. Maybe that is what the story of the prodigal son at the end might be all about, because the one son was already in the house and felt some kind of way. He was already loved. But then you had one son who maybe felt unloved. And that's why he wanted maybe to take his possessions and leave the house. Maybe it's how he felt within the home that made him go into another direction. But let's take these again, this other personality. He must not bestow firstborn status on the son or the personality of the loved wife or the loved relationship in preference, in choice to the son of the unloved. God does not show partiality in mankind. The father in the household should neither. To the son of the unloved, right? The true firstborn. See, we all felt unloved. That was born first. Being unloved, feeling lonely. That's what started a lot of this journey. Feeling unprotected, feeling like I was away from the crowd, feeling scattered, because God said that he will scatter us. He will separate us. But we're not taught on how we should behave or what we should do in those types of situations. And so when we experience these things, we're lost. We are blinded in darkness. So let's check out verse 17. But he shall acknowledge or accept the son of the unloved. This Father, the God within, to accept the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has. giving the unloved a double portion of grace and mercy. That's what we're supposed to do today. There are some people out here today that feel empty, that feel unloved, that feel like God has scattered them, or the universe, or just this world has separated them. It is those people today that we should give a double portion of grace and mercy, because that's what God would do. That's what a manly God would do. When I mean manly, I mean human being, a humanitarian, or some type of person who cares about people, whether you male or female, because we are all mankind, or man, until there's a union. But that's another story. But here, we're talking about the one that feels unloved. And if that is you, show yourself a double portion of grace and mercy, and see if there's not a change. And if not, go around other people who you know will show you a double portion of grace and mercy. Because if we cannot generate it from within, we have to be connected to something outside so that we can receive the power to be restored. Again, if you feel unloved, I've been there. I know what that's like. I felt separated from God before too. But I will tell you this though, today I feel accepted because I received and I accepted my double portion of grace and mercy. Thanks again for listening.